Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well, and it's time to witness another battle in Cossacks 2 Battle for Europe, a strategy game which takes place in the Napoleonic era. And I'm pretty happy that I'm able to share a gameplay of the player whose name is Inquisitor with you, because Inquisitor is one of the highest ranked players of all time in Cossacks 2, and as you can see in this game he plays for Britain. And on the other hand, his opponent, who's called Adamand, he's also a very good player and very high ranked. He's playing for the nation Russia. So let's see. Inquisitor built a market right from the beginning, and I think that's very good because at the market you can exchange goods, that's obvious, and he traded coal for wood, so he was able to quickly upgrade his food village to the second level, so more workers now will produce food for him. And I think Adamand is doing the same. He also builds the market very quickly, and he already has built the barracks and is training the home guard, which is a very weak unit, as they are only able to go into melee attack and don't have firearms, but they are quickly and cheap produced, and so you can capture some neutral villages and will get more resources. And Inquisitor has trained British musketeers, and he is able to capture this food village here.
We've captured the village.
And as you can also see, he goes for a quick blacksmith, and the blacksmith is required to be able to train better soldiers, namely the Highlanders. You can see them here. And I choose a different strategy when playing with Britain. I try to build the academy and the palace first, so before building the blacksmith, because Highlanders cost gold, and the palace provides you with extra gold income, and gold is a very rare resource at the beginning. But you can also argue building the blacksmith first is good because you can train better soldiers more quickly. So both strategies have its advantages, I think. And now Adamand is going for Russian musketeers, and he's capturing this coal village here. Meanwhile, his home guard is capturing the iron village here.
The village is under our
And
control.
now Inquisitor builds the academy and sends his Highlanders, as you can see here on the map,
Dwellings are needed.
to the food village. And he also built a storehouse here to keep his transportation lines short. Yeah, here you can see Inquisitor has also crossed that bridge and was able to capture this iron village. And that's very important for Britain, because Britain, as like Prussia, is dependent on iron more or less, because they only have troops which need iron for production.
The order will be
So that's
obeyed.
a disadvantage of Britain, but on the other hand they have very good troops.
We've
So the
captured
Highlanders were
village.
able to capture the food village and advance now to the neutral gold village here. And before the two opponents get in touch, we can talk a little bit about global strategies, because one of the players asked me if I could comment a little bit on which nation is good for which scenario. And let's just pick 2 of the 9 playable nations. So I think Poland is very good for rushing the enemy, because you can build stables very quickly right from the beginning, and you can also train
Getting there.
mounted Uhlans when playing for Poland. It's the same for Russia, so I can show it here.
Now the village belongs to us.
The mounted Uhlans have the advantage that they only cost wood and food, and so we are not so dependent on iron. And what's also very beneficial when playing with Poland, the Polish Fusiliers have a morale bonus of 10 compared to other cheap units or similar units of other nations. And as Napoleon once said, in war the moral is to the physical like 3-1. So more morale on the battlefield can make all the difference, because I think in that part Cossacks 2 is very realistic, because morale plays a huge role, and it's very decisive that your troops have a high moral value, so they are not so likely to flee from the battlefield. And now one squad of British Highlanders and one squad of British Musketeers are chasing the Russian Musketeers, who are retreating to their gold
We have no
village.
shelter.
Let's see how that fight turns out. And it's a little bit risky, I think, of Inquisitor, because he lets his iron village, which is very important for Britain, unprotected, but I think that's the self-confidence of a very high-ranked player. And now you can see Adamand is shooting with his Russian Musketeers, and Inquisitor is doing the same with his Highlanders and sends his British Musketeers in pursuit
We've captured
of the Russian
village.
Musketeers. Yeah, and as far as global strategy is concerned, let's also talk about France. I think France is the best nation as far as overall quality of the troops is concerned, because they have very good grenadiers, who have a high value of morale, and they also have formidable cavalry units, even in the light cavalry stables. So overall quality, I think France is the best in that part. And now you can see the British Musketeers attacking the reloading Russian Musketeers, who are retreating, but they are now low on morale. You can see that. So the red bar, if the morale falls into the red bar, it would be over for the Russian Musketeers, so to say. And Adamand has also built a blockhouse here
The enemy has captured the village.
to defend his barracks, his troop production. And now Inquisitor tries to defend it here, his blockhouse, which he wants to build there. And his Highlanders are fighting it out against one decimated Russian Musketeer squad. We're now fleeing from the battlefield. And now, on the other hand, on the right flank of Adamand, Inquisitor is attacking with 2 squads. And that's very dangerous for Adamand, because here lays his heartland and is pretty much unprotected. But now one Musketeer squad defends it against the Highlanders, and
The enemy's close.
also a cavalry unit is ready for Adamand. And on the other hand, Inquisitor maybe tries to capture that iron village back. He has one decimated Highlander squad and a unit of mounted hussars. And Adamand is building a second barracks. So that's a very cool thing about Russia, because second barracks are pretty cheap, I meant. And so you can build a lot of troops right from the beginning, and he also sends his home guard back. So it's a little bit desperate situation for him now. He needs every troop to defend against the enemy. And now Inquisitor is bringing Grenadiers into play. And I think he will be able to throw the Russian musketeers back and will capture that village. Now his Highlander squads are taking the home guard. And if they shoot, I think they will send them home. And that was successful. So the Russian musketeers are low on morale, or were low on morale. Now they were shooting, which increased their morale status.
The village is under our control.
And now Inquisitor was able to capture that iron village once again. So I'd say it's not the best situation for Adamand, but maybe he's able to turn the tide. So he's now trying to attack with his cavalry and try to repel the enemy. There's one musketeer squad for Britain left, but I think it will be doomed and will disintegrate. Let's watch that.
The enemy has broken our lines.
So now Adamand was able to prevent that threat for his barracks on his right flank. But there's also one squad of Highlanders left for Britain. But the squad is pretty far away, so it's no immediate threat. But here, on the main line, he's getting attacked by the British Grenadiers and British Highlanders. So the British Grenadiers are trying to destroy the blockhouse now with their grenades. And they succeeded in that. And now the Highlanders are shooting against the Russian musketeers. Russian musketeers are forming a line, the two squads. Okay, there's also a grenadier squad as I see now. So 3 squads of Russian infantry against 1 squad of British grenadiers. So it shouldn't be that big of a problem because Russian cavalry is also ready. And now I think every Russian soldier is attacking the British Grenadiers and they have to retreat, at least a little bit. So now British heavy cavalry is ready and is joining the fight. So Adamand has to throw the enemy back in order to have a chance in this game.
The enemy has 1 squad less.
And there's another British Grenadier squad advancing. And as you can also see, I missed that, Inquisitor built his barracks here in order to be able to throw in his troops more quickly and have a shorter way. So that's a very good strategy, I think, because now he was able to make the Russian musketeers disintegrate, and it looks not so good for Adamand, to say the least.
Hooray! The enemy is retreating.
Can see that every Russian soldier was very low on morale, and now Adamand gave up and Inquisitor won the game. So thanks for joining me in that game, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope also that we see us in the next video. Stay tuned and have a nice day.